There are many entrepreneurs out there who think that their vision is broken, when what's really missing is clarity. The real issue is that they don't have a plan to bring their vision into reality. I like to call it the clarity gap. The clarity gap, in essence, is the space between your vision and results. It's the distance between inspiration and implementation. And there are many brilliant entrepreneurs who are spinning in circles, doubting their vision and second guessing themselves because they don't know how to bring those visions to life. What they're really missing is that framework that will tell them how to go from what they're visualizing to actually bringing it into reality. You know, there's a scripture in the Bible for those of you who are faith-based, and it's found in the book of Proverbs, chapter 29, verse 18. And it says that without a vision, the people perish. But I like to put my own spin on it. And it goes like this: without clarity, your vision can suffocate under the weight of confusion. And today I want to talk about clarity. I want to talk about how do we get it? What happens when we don't have it? And how can we really get the clarity we need to ensure that we're making progress on the things that are most important to us? In talking about clarity, I like to use this illustration, if you will. And that is that vision is what lights the fire, but clarity is what builds the fireplace. Vision lights the fire, but clarity is what really builds the fireplace. Because you see, clarity is the structure, it is the focus, it is the boundaries that you are able to place on yourselves that helps to really protect your priorities. Clarity gives you the ability to know what to say yes to, as well as the ability to what to say no to, which, by the way, is super important. Here's how I want you to consider it. Vision answers the question, why am I building this? It's the motivation, it's the why. On the other hand, clarity answers the question, what exactly am I building? And how do I need to build it? How will I get there? Now, there's a number of things that happens when clarity is missing. And I want to talk with you briefly about 3 of them. Number 1, when clarity is missing, you'll begin to mistake busy work for progress. I don't know if you're like the typical small business owner or even entrepreneur. You have a long list of to-dos. And I know that for myself, true confessions here, I am definitely a planner. I write down what needs to be done, or I have it in my OneNote or whatever. I keep a to-do list. And you might have the experience of going through that week, just checking things off your to-do list. And you feel so good because you're watching the things on that list disappear as you're knocking them out one by one. And then you get to the end of the week. And maybe you take some time to do some reflection and you begin to think over the week. You're like, okay, what were my greatest wins this week? What did I make progress on? And you're really just evaluating how the week went. And then you have this shock because you're like, I know that I did literally 100 things this week, but I feel like I made no progress. I felt like I had no traction. And what you might be discovering in that moment is that what you were really doing was busy work. Yes, you might have been checking things off the list, but the work you were doing was not work that was calculated to help to move the needle. It was busy work versus strategic work. And what clarity helps with, it helps you to really dial in on what is the strategic work that I need to be doing that's going to elevate my business, that's going to elevate my efforts, and that's going to ensure that I'm moving forward in the way that I need to. Secondly, when clarity is missing, you'll find yourself saying yes to too many things and you'll pivot too soon. You see, when you don't have clarity, you really don't know what you need to do at any given time. And so even though you may be making steps, there's a lack of confidence that the step that you're taking is the right step. So here's what happens. You begin to say yes to every opportunity that comes along, to every idea, every project, every request, because you say to yourself, well, maybe this is it. This is a project. This is an idea that if I say yes to it, it's really going to catapult me. It's really going to help me to get where I need to be. And when you do that for a little while, You end up finding yourself overwhelmed and scattered and literally on the verge of burnout. And so you say to yourself after experiencing that, you know what? Maybe I'm kidding myself. Maybe this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. You know what? I need to go do something else. And there you go, pivoting in a different direction. When in reality, you don't need to pivot. What you need to have is clarity about how am I going to get to this vision that I see in my head. You need a roadmap. You need a guide that tells you where you need to go and what is it going to take for you to get there. And lastly, when you don't have clarity, you'll find that, especially for those of you who feel who are faith-based and you feel like this vision that you're pursuing is one that has been given to you of God. When you lack that vision, you'll try to obey the vision that you see in your head. You'll try to make progress. But because you are unclear on the steps to help you to get there, you'll find yourself wandering aimlessly. This is what happened in the book of Exodus to the children of Israel. They were on a journey that should have taken 10 days, and it took them 40 years. Yes, that is 40 years. And that's what happens sometimes in our own lives when we don't have the clarity that we need to move forward. You know, Jesus shared a principle of this in the Gospels. It's where he says that no man who is setting out or intending to build a house doesn't first sit down and count the cost to see if he has enough to build it. Lest after he started to build it, he says, wait a minute, I don't think I can finish this, and he stops. In other words, the principle behind that is that when you're going to do something, you want to take some time to plan it out first. You want to take some time to say to yourself, okay, here is the destination. Here is where I'm trying to go, and here's what I'm going to do to get there. Here are the resources that I'm going to need. Here's all the things as best as you can, because you won't know everything up front. And I'm not advocating you racking your brain trying to figure out everything, but you want to make sure that you give it some thought before you move forward. Because when you start to aimlessly or to mindlessly just move forward on a vision, you can find yourself, especially as a faith-based individual, dishonoring the calling that has been given to you and not being a proper steward of it. I like to consider clarity in this way. Clarity is what turns calling into consistent execution. And if the truth be told, many of us, that's what we're lacking. We may say, oh, I don't know what my purpose is, and I don't know if, what I should be doing. I've tried this, I've tried that. No, it's not trying something new that you need. What we need is the discipline of consistently staying with one thing to see what is going to come of that thing before we change our mind and go into a different direction. So in summary, when there's a clarity gap, it looks like constant activity with no progress. It looks like saying yes to everything. It looks like decision fatigue, and it even looks like emotional whiplash. Because let's be honest, after you've been chasing all these shiny objects, it is tiring. It is tiring. You're wanting to go to a direction. You don't know how to get there, so you're doing all of these things, and it drains you. It legitimately drains you. You're like, stick a fork in me. I'm done. I don't have anything more in me. And I don't want you to get there. All right. I don't want you to get there. And this is part of the reason why we're doing this video. I want to paint a picture for you of how this showed up for me in my life, because I've dealt with knowing what I want to do in my head, but not seeing the steps forward to get there. And that effect in a real way on me, it's really crazy, because I'll start to take some steps, but because I'm not sure I'm taking the right step, I'm always second guessing it. Oh, is this what I should be doing? What if I'm wrong? What if this is not the way to go? And you're not able to move forward with confidence. There's always this chatter in your mind, and there's this timidity, and there's this fear, and there's this uncertainty. And if you ever move or try to act in life in a spirit of uncertainty and fear, it's not very promising, right? It's not a very good thing. Versus when you're confident that the move you're making is the right one, there's a way that you're able to kind of seize the day that you're not able to do when you're uncertain about the steps. And then what I found in my own experience is that when I start second guessing myself all the time about those decisions, it eventually leads me to reach the place where I begin to doubt that I even have a vision. It's like, Rochelle, really, what are you trying to do now? Look at this. You don't even know what you should be doing. Did you even have a vision? Maybe you're just wasting your time. And I am tempted to want to go in a different direction because it's like, all right, I'm overwhelmed. I'm done. I don't want to deal with this anymore, right? When that's not what I needed either. What I needed is clarity. What I needed was to get laser sharp on how am I going to get to, the vision is good. The vision is real. The vision might even be God inspired, but I need some clarity on how to bring this vision to life. And so I want us to talk a little bit now about what does it look like for us to bring our vision to life? How do we do that? What are some of the steps that we can take so that we can clear the fog and become and to be able to see a little bit more clearly than we might have seen before. So the first step is defining your ideal business snapshot. And I know some of you are like, well, what in the world is an ideal business snapshot? I'm going to do another video on that later on, a fuller video on it. But it's a wonderful resource. It's a wonderful tool that I love to give the clients that I work with and that I do myself. And it's powerful. Here's what the ideal business snapshot does. I ask my clients to paint a picture, very detailed picture of where they see their business in the next 3 to 5 years. When I say detailed, I mean I want it in such a way that you can taste it, you can feel it, you can touch it. It's so immersive. It's like you have painted in a picture and you see all the hues, the blues, the golds, all of those things. It becomes very real. And so a person may write in the next 3 to 5 years, so maybe in 2028, my business is in Atlanta, Georgia. I have it headquartered there and I have some satellite offices, one on the West Coast. And I have 10 employees or 40 employees working with me. I've grossed $30 million. It's such a detailed picture that what it does is it gets you excited. It gets you excited because it's like, man, when you read the picture, you're like, this vision can actually happen. Look, and you begin to get so excited. It causes you to want to push and to go forward, and it really grounds you. And then it allows you to just say, well, if this is what the end goal looks like, then all I have to do is re-engineer, right? All I have to do is re-engineer it. And if this is what I really want to do, it makes it a little bit easier in some ways to see the steps to get there now because it's such a crystallized vision. But it does more than that. Any of you that are small business owners and entrepreneurs, you know that this journey to building a business, it is not a sprint, but it is a marathon. And what I have found in my experience is that this ideal business snapshot, there are moments when I become, again, a little bit confused about what I'm doing. Maybe some discouragement is setting in. And I'm like, okay, girl, do you really need to be doing this? And I start to get in my head. And when that happens, I go and I grab my ideal business snapshot and I begin to read it. And as I'm reading it, the excitement comes back. It's like I see the picture more clearly. I'm like, yes, this is not a pipe dream. This is not something that I just made up. This is real. And it inspires me to keep on running. It's kind of like why when you're running a marathon, you have these different stations because it's a long road ahead of you and the encouragement along the way is definitely needed. Secondly, I want to suggest to you as you're getting clarity that you want to identify your strategic priorities. This is similar to what we spoke about in our last video when we talked about the first domino principle. And what you want to be able to do at this step is to recognize that I got like 10 or 12 things that are pulling at me, but I can't do the 10 or 12 things all at once. And so what you really want to identify at this step is what's the thing that is most essential. What is the thing that I need to focus on in this season, in this quarter, in this month, in this week? What is that thing that I really need to give my attention to? Because here's the thing, when everything feels urgent, clarity always reminds you what's essential. And that's what you're going to need. What's the most essential thing for me to do? What is the first domino that I need to kick over as I continue on this journey to bringing my dream into reality? Lastly, you want to align your calendar with your vision or your calling. And here's another way for me to say it. You want to make sure that the way that you're using your time is aligned with your vision and it's aligned with your calling. Because if it's not, and if your daily actions don't align with your vision and what you feel called to do, then you're always going to feel like you're behind. If your daily actions don't align with your vision, you're always going to feel like you're behind. You know why? Because you're going to be doing all of these things that don't have anything to do with your vision. And every time you think about your vision, you're going to say, there's so many things to do. I'm so behind. Because your usage of time is not aligned. It's not married to the thing that you say is the most important to you and that you're trying to accomplish in life. And so your strategy isn't just a plan in your head, it lives in your daily habits and it should live in your routines. When I was growing up, there was this saying that it takes a village to raise a child, and it really does, right? But I like to apply it to a business as well. It takes a village to raise a business, because a business, let's not kid ourselves, a business is a whole child, right? A business needs time, it needs resources, it needs effort, it needs all of those things. And so you can't do it by yourself. You weren't meant to do it by yourself. And so I want to encourage you to get a coach, get a friend, get a community, get a thought partner, get someone who can walk alongside you. And while you're dreaming the visions, while you're getting the vision, you can have someone that is helping you to architect the path forward to that vision becoming a reality. I want to say this as we're closing. Vision without clarity leads to burnout. But when clarity comes, then strategy flows and peace follows. And I don't know about you, but I love me some peace of mind, right? And that's what clarity does. It really gives you a peace of mind to know that, all right, even though it's not as fast as I want it to go, I know that I'm moving in the right direction nonetheless. So if you're ready to get out of this swirl, if you're ready to really get aligned, and if you're ready to really move your vision forward, I have created a free guide for you that's called the Builder's Blueprint. It's something that I put together with you in mind. It has the 6 stages of a business. It helps you to identify what particular stage you're in. It has that ideal business snapshot that I spoke about. It has reflection prompts, just a number of things that I know that I find to be helpful. And I said to myself, if I was reading this, what is it that would really help me? What is it that's really gonna to be a game changer for me? And so I tried to make sure that those things were in it. So I'm gonna put a description under this video, and you can click on that link that you'll find in the description to get access to this free guide. It's for you, so make sure that you utilize it. So here's what I want to leave you with. A reminder that you don't need more ideas. What you really need is a lens, a framework, a clarity map to help you to reach there. So I'm interested to know from you, where are you in your business journey? Are you just starting out? Are you further along? Where do you feel like you're lacking clarity right now? Why don't you drop it in the comments, and let's continue to talk. And until next time, bye-bye.